go. Perfect. Perfect. So, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
That's great to know. Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
It is so cool and awesome to have someone with such an epic, cool, badass career as yours.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So before we start, I have to give you a proper welcome. If you have seen some of my episodes before, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, let me show you. So, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. I mean, we are a small operation. I mean, we are growing little by little, but at some point we might have live audience.
You never know. You never
know. Yeah, totally. I mean, at some point I might have an episode special on Staples Center, but we'll see.
Soon to be renamed the Bitcoin Center or something, I believe now.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some Chinese Bitcoin person paid millions of dollars to rename it starting next year.
Well, at least for me, it's gonna stay Staples Center forever.
Oh, it's gonna be Staples for all of us. So yeah.
Love it. So, tell me, how your acting career started?
When I was a child. Yeah, I got into theater and music at a very, very, very young age. And did it pretty much all growing up through college. But then I did a lot of other things in my life. But my foundation definitely started when I was really young and has stayed with me, even though I've done a lot of other things in my life as well.
Wow, that is so cool. It is so interesting. It is so interesting that whenever you are doing something and then suddenly it clicks and you just can't stop doing it until it becomes a career, basically.
Exactly. And it took me, I took a long route getting back into acting. I tried many other things as well, but this is where my passion has always been.
That's what it's all about. And what were some of the challenges that you had when you were recently started? Because I think we all have them, right? That whenever we are starting this project, we just, basically we don't know what we're doing. And we're just like experimenting and try here and there. So for you, what were some of the challenges that you had?
So I guess when I came back to acting, I was older, I'd gone to college. I was in the Army. I spent a year deployed to Iraq, and then I got my master's degree. And I worked as a journalist, and then just decided I'd had enough. I just needed to go back to what I really loved. And so I went back to theater in San Francisco, and I did that for about 6 years. And obviously the hardest thing in doing that was getting back into something I hadn't done for many years, and also making a living. So, I became a certified substitute teacher. And so I was teaching all the time, and then I was in rehearsals, and then just getting back into training and classes and honing my skills. And then when I made the transition to voiceover and on camera, sort of the same thing, like getting into classes, learning how the industry works, learning how to hone my skills for a new medium. And then just making connections and networking and getting to know people and finding your community. And then, when I eventually moved to LA, just, every year's been better than the previous year. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, basically you have done everything.
I've done many things. Yeah.
I mean, we could finish this interview like, she's doing everything. Goodbye. That's so cool.
I've lived many lives. Yes.
That's so amazing. Wow. I mean, you've been through basically everything. that is so. And it also gives you the opportunity at the same time to, I mean, besides having a lot of cool stories, but also it opens your mind a lot, right?
It really does. And even though I do kind of sometimes bemoan the fact that I moved to Hollywood late in life, I definitely came here with a lot of life experience, which is invaluable when it comes to acting, because it's like I have so many experiences to be able to draw from in my craft, which not a lot of other people have, and everybody goes about acting differently, but I do think that the many things that I've done in my life have helped prepare me for this career as well.
That is badass. That's so amazing. Wow. And so you have been in projects such as World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft, The Elder Scrolls Online, Vainglory, The Night Santa Got Lost. So, I mean, just to start, because I mean, there's a lot of them. But tell me, like, what are some of the things that you usually do to, yeah, like to prepare a character, let's say?
Well, honestly, for most of those, there's no preparation. So
Okay.
with voiceover, especially when it comes to video games,
Mhm.
most of the time you don't know what you're doing until you walk into the booth. And
Yeah,
they
totally.
the character and they direct you through the scenes and the lines. So you have to really be able to hit the ground running. For things like Transformers War for Cybertron, I was able to get the script in advance. And so I was able to really dig into that character and then obviously work with the director to bring it to life. And then, you know, for some of the on-camera stuff that I've done that were some of those bigger roles, yeah, you do have time to dive into it. But one of the things that really does make voiceover really unique compared to other mediums is that you rarely have the luxury of being able to spend time with the script and break it down. Like, you really just have to hit the ground running and, you know, take direction very quickly and adapt very, very, very quickly.
Wow. And for example, for voiceover, tell me, like, how you usually come up with the voice for a character. I mean, do they give you like I mean, I'm super sure that they will tell you like a little bit of backstory, right? For the character.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, you know, a lot of what I do is just my normal voice, and it's just the attitude and things like that. But no, for certain characters, like especially a lot of the creaturey stuff that I've done, they definitely give you, you know, descriptions of kind of what you're looking for, but then you do bring it to life. Yeah, a lot of times they'll give you accents they're interested in, or if they're, you know, if they're looking for a specific sound, you know, if it's for an established game like Elder Scrolls, and, you know, I played a couple different creatures in the game, it's like, okay, well, I know what those creatures sound like, and doing your research and knowing what they sound like. And then, yeah, working with the director in the session to get exactly the sound that they're looking for.
That is amazing. That is so awesome. And what would you say it's an important, what would you say is this like an important aspect for storytelling?
An important aspect for storytelling, that's a really hard question. I mean, you know, as an actor, you're beholden to the script and the director, to you know, bring what they've already done to life and to work with them to bring their vision to life. But I think it's all about honesty and making sure that even if you're playing a wacky zany character or, you know, like an ogre or something like that, that you are just, you know, you're bringing as much honesty to that character as you can, even if it's in some fantastical world. And making sure that, you know, you're helping, because it's a collaborative process, you know. It's not just you, it's you with the director and the sound designer and all the animators and everything else. And so it's definitely a collaborative process.
Love it. And from each character that you play, what's the goal that you try to achieve with your performance?
I mean, that's a really, it depends, because so much of what I do, like with video games, is, you know, there is no real character development. It's literally, I usually, for a session, I'm playing maybe 3 to 4 different characters. When I go in, it's usually an Excel spreadsheet with just line. You give a couple takes, you get redirects, and you usually just blast through that script. So for that, you know, the goal is to be able to very quickly give them exactly what they're looking for, pivot with, you know, any sort of redirect that they give you, so be very adaptable. But then for things like, again, like Alita 1 and Transformers, for that it was very much about being able to bring a lot of myself to that character and bring a lot of honesty and grounding, to make sure that I was doing justice to this character.
That's badass +2. That's so amazing. So then you were in even more projects, such as Forgive Me Father, Love Bottled Up, Tolerance Tuesdays, Damaged Goods, Behind the Screams, The Day I Almost Died, The Last Glimmer, I Almost Got Away with It, Manuel Samuel, America's Court with Judge Ross, Set Life Web, Webisodes, Our Crazy Sex, Transplants, The Life on the Light. I mean, the list goes on and on. Virtual reality. But like in general, like what are some of the things that you usually do before start performing? Do you have like, let's say, like a like a ritual maybe, or what is like the usual thing that sets you up like, I'm good to go, let's go?
Yeah, well, again, it depends. Like you just listed a half a dozen different types of projects. Like it depends if it's a video game, if it's a commercial, if it's narration, if it's an on-camera commercial, if it's a short film, if it's a feature film. All of them are different. For voiceover, like if it's a video game session, I just need to make sure I'm healthy and hydrated. Like if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of screaming and yelling or really strenuous creature voices, then making sure that I'm really hydrated and I have everything I need, as far as like throat stuff to get me through the session. If there is any research I need to do, like if there's a specific accent that they need for it, like making sure I brush up on that accent to be able to do it quickly. And then, if there's, again, if it's a specific creature sound that they're looking for, being able to make sure I do that. For like a lot of, on-camera stuff, it's literally, if you have a script, great, be prepared. But a lot of times, again, you show up on set and they hand you a script and you go. A lot of times there's rewrites. So for me, I don't have any rituals or anything like that. It's just my rituals are making sure I'm always prepared. So always being in classes. I'm constantly in classes, constantly training in workout groups, just constantly honing my craft so that when I am cast in something, I am as prepared as possible. And, if I do have an opportunity to have like, a bigger character, like for The Last Glimmer, that was a pretty intense film and required a lot of dialect research. I was Ukrainian. And, she was a heroin addict. So, really diving into kind of what that meant. So it really just depends on what the project is as far as, am I even able to prepare? Yeah. I would say 99% of my work is literally I walk into the booth and figure out what I'm doing on the fly.
That's amazing. I mean, I love it. I mean, your career is so cool.
Oh, well, thank you. I enjoy it. I definitely enjoy it.
I bet. And what are some of the challenges that someone might have when they start doing voiceover?
Again, it depends. I mean, I would say the biggest thing, if we're talking specifically about voiceover, is that, there's sometimes this misconception that like, oh, I can talk, I can do voiceover, and that's not the case at all. Voiceover, first and foremost, is acting. And all the things that you think on-camera actors do to become amazing actors, that is the same for voiceover. Like you have to be taking acting classes, and then because the foundation is acting, so you must become a good actor, and then you have to learn how to do all the technical things of voiceover, which like mic technique and breathing and different things like that, and learn how to act in the specific mediums, because the way you perform for commercials varies between radio, television, digital. The way you perform for like medical narration or audiobooks, or video games, there's all different types of video games, because the work that I do for like a game like Elder Scrolls is completely different than what I'm gonna do for Call of Duty. And same thing with animation. If you just watch any animated series, it's like Castlevania is very, very different than Tiny Toons. So it first and foremost is acting, and then learning how all the different genres work. And then, building a studio. Like everyone has to have a home studio these days. So learning how to kind of be an engineer, and then networking. It's just, there's a lot of things that go into it. Just like with anyone who's trying to do the performing arts, it's a learning curve. It's a process. It's a long process. You can't expect to get success overnight. It took, several years before I was able to quit my side jobs and be able to fully support myself. So,
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, some of the projects that I just mentioned have been video games, right? But also, you have done even a lot more, such as the Elder Scrolls Legends, The Fall of the Dark Brotherhood, Fallout 76, Rage 2, Unheard, The Legal Script, NBA 2K20, Call of Duty Mobile, Exo Heroes, Rogue Company, Wasteland 3, NBA 2.
I mean, people can go to my IMDb and see everything.
Yeah,
I've
but
done. That's
it's
the thing
so
with
cool.
voiceover. The thing with voiceover is like I can literally, you know, like I can have multiple sessions a week. I can have multiple sessions a day. You know, the past couple of weeks, like it's not uncommon to have 2 sessions in a day. And unlike, you know, on camera where you're doing one project maybe every couple of months, or you know, if you're lucky, maybe every couple of weeks, but usually it's like every couple of months. Whereas with voiceover, it's like I could do 30 different projects in a month. You know, that's extreme, but you know, that's why there's such an extensive body of work, is because you do need to be doing as much as possible, and you're able to fit in a lot more than you can, you know, because if you're on set for 12 hours, you might be able to shoot 30 minutes worth of a scene, where it's like I can knock out, you know, 2 video games, a dubbing project, and a commercial in a week, you know, or multiple commercials in a week. So yeah,
totally. I mean, at the same time, I mean, video games lately have become so and so. I mean, the fact with technology and everything, and they have invested so much to make characters, you know, like more what's the word, like that people start to care more about the characters for a video game, as back in the day it was just horrible, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, video games are their budgets have surpassed many feature films now. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. Absolutely.
Totally. And also this year you were in Deathloop.
Yeah, so I was really lucky. This year I was in 2 games that were nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I was in Deathloop, and then I was also in Monster Hunter Rise. But yeah, Deathloop was fantastic. It was a brilliant game. If you are a gamer and you have not played it, I really encourage you. It did win 2 Game of the Year awards for, I believe, directing and art direction or something like that. But yeah, it was really, really great game.
Love it. Yeah. And what advice could you give to those who recently started doing voiceover?
People who have already started doing voiceover? Constantly training, because there's always more to learn, and the industry changes so quickly. You have to be able to adapt. The way things were done 10 years ago or even 5 years ago is not how they're done now. Commercials are literally changing, you know, year to year. The tones that people are looking for in commercials is constantly changing. The types of video games that are coming out is constantly changing, you know, and adult animation has become much more popular. So it's not just about making voices. Like I said, most of the work I do is my natural voice. So it's not just about zany voices, it's about the acting. So you absolutely need to constantly be honing your skills, and then making sure you've got a good home setup. You know, you don't have to spend a ton of money to set up a home studio. You know, like I converted a walk-in closet. You don't have to drop tens of thousands of dollars, but you do have to have a setup that, you know, you can do broadcast quality sound from. Because, you know, even before COVID, I was doing a lot of work from my home studio, but with COVID, work went entirely home studio for over a year. It's only recently that in LA, we've started going back into studio for certain projects, but, you know, I would say the majority of my work I'm still doing for my home studio. So it's absolutely an investment, and it's something that you do need to invest in, but you don't have to. There's ways you can do it without breaking the bank, but it's also a process. You know, it's like you start small. You know, you can get away with maybe cheaper demo reels and cheaper equipment when you're just starting out, but as you get higher up in your career, then yes, you need to invest in slightly better equipment, and you need to invest in better demo reels, and you know, things like that.
Love it. And I mean, I wonder, like, what motivates you? I mean, we all have those days, right, in which we just feel horrible. I mean, we just don't want to do it. Like, we just don't want to continue to do the thing we're doing. We think that it's a waste of time, or that nobody likes it, you know, or like nobody cares. So what gets you out of this? Like this toxic bubble, let's say, and just to be like, F it, I'm just gonna continue doing the thing that I love because it's what I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing with anyone who pursues a career in the arts, is that it's 90% rejection. I mean, I think the statistics are you book 1 out of every 100 auditions. And I think the numbers are even higher than that now. So most of what you do in your life is audition. And the bookings are the cream on the crop. But it's like, you really have to have a thick skin because you don't get feedback. You don't get anyone responding to you, and you will not book most of what you do. And that's just the reality. It's a numbers game. So you really have to learn how to deal with that. So basically, you literally have to learn how to just audition and put it behind you and just move on to the next one. But yeah, there's days when you're just like, man, I did so well on that audition and I didn't hear any, you know, I really thought I would have nailed it. And then you focus on what's next. You know, that's all you can really do. Because if you get bogged down in the negativity of not booking, then you're gonna sabotage yourself. And so you really have to focus on what's next. Realize that yes, it is a saturated market. There's so many people you're competing against. So it rarely, I mean, so much of it doesn't have anything to do with your talent or your preparedness. It just has to do with, you know, did casting even hear your audition? You know, oh, you sounded too much like their ex-wife, and so they're not going to hire you. Or, you know, they know so-and-so from a part. You know, there's so many things that go into the casting process that might have nothing to do with your talent. But also I've done a lot of other things in my life that were really, really shitty. It's like, no matter how bad things get in my life and my career, it's still not as bad as being in the desert and being shot at. So that's honestly what gets me through the day, is that like, I have been to the lowest I could ever be in my life. And I know I will never be that low again. And so even when things are difficult, I know that I've already been through worse, and so it's gonna be okay. You just persevere. Yeah,
I love it. And if you could describe your career at the moment on a movie, TV show, book, or even a video game, why not? What would be the title of it?
If I could describe my life,
your career.
Oh, if someone made something out of it. Oh gosh, that's a really interesting question. I don't know. I did always joke that like if someone did a movie about my life, I might call it Purple Toenails, because the whole time I was in the Army, you know, you're not allowed to wear jewelry, anything like that, but I always had purple toenail polish on. So I used to joke that like, yes, my memoir would be called Purple Toenails.
Love it. And also, if you could describe your career, but on a drink, which one would you pick? On
a drink? What do you mean?
Yeah, like for example, like a Long Island tea or margarita or something like that.
Like what type of drink describes my life? Oh, you know, probably like kombucha or something, because it's, you know, it's healthy, it's good for your system, but it also, you know, is bubbly and fizzy and unpredictable, and there's a whole lot of different flavors out there. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Okay, fair enough.
And my last question here is, what can we expect from you in the future?
A lot of things. I already have several games that are in development that are going to be coming out in the next 2 years. I mean, God of War Ragnarok, I was able to talk about, so that'll be coming out next year. But I do have a couple other games that I've worked on that are going to be coming out in 2022 and 2023. I always have my weekly talk show, The Rollout, on YouTube. We put out new episodes every week, so that's going to continue going.
Perfect.
Trying to get in more conventions. You know, we recently had a panel at LA Comic-Con. We're going to look at doing panels for other conventions as well. I'm going to be appearing at Anime LA in Long Beach in a couple weeks. I'm going to be on a panel there, so you can keep your eyes out for that. And, you know, who knows what the future has in store. You know, every day is a new day and new opportunities.
I love it. And I mean, and as I said before, I mean, you're doing everything. That is so cool.
You also got to be multi-hyphenated in this industry to succeed. You know, you really can't just be locked into one thing. You know, so it's like I've got a pilot that I'm shopping right now, and I've got a feature film that I'm in pre-production for, and a short film that is being edited right now. And you know, I'm working with a writer-director friend of mine to help, you know, pitch his scripts. So it's like you really, you know, I like doing things. I don't like being idle. So it's like, you can't just sit around and audition and wait for things to come to you. You know, you really do. That's part of the job. But the other part, especially as a performer who wants to be fulfilled, is, you know, you do need to like make your own work and find other people that you want to do projects with. And yeah.
I love it. I love it. I mean, as I was checking your content and everything, I was like, she's doing everything. I mean, for video games, movies, and also like very cool. I mean, I love video games, and actually when my page started on Instagram, at first it was just gaming content. Then, and I mean, the fact that you have been in so many cool, I mean, talking about the game specifically, I mean, you have been in so many cool games.
Yeah,
that is
video
so
games
cool.
are my passion. They're probably the thing I love to do the most. Yeah.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And I'm super sure that next year, I mean, things are just going to be even better. I mean, I'm super sure that at some point, yeah, I mean, we're going to see you everywhere at some point, you know? I mean, not only video games, but movies. Yeah, everything. Because I'm super sure that what you do, I mean, of course, that what you do, it is inspiring, but also I bet even that there's a lot of people who sees you as a role model and who sees you as someone that dreams can come true, you know, and the fact that you're approving everyone, and I mean, and that journey you have been through so many things here, and the fact that you are continuing pursuing your career, it is inspiring, you know, and I think that to those who are looking for someone to get inspired on, they definitely need to check what you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
And also, I want to thank those who are watching this right now. Thank you so much. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, make sure, if you're watching this later on YouTube, also thank you so much. And also make sure that you're following Linsay here and all of our social media. Normally what I would say is for you to put pause, then leave a like, subscribe, follow, it helps me a lot. And then, you know, it's holiday season, so eat a cookie or 2 or 3 or 4, or eat the whole box, why not? And then go follow this amazing, talented actress here. I mean, let's make her trendy right now in all of social media. Let's make her super trendy and then come back. And again, thank you so much. It is so cool and epic and amazing to have someone with such an epic and cool career in yours that it's just getting bigger and bigger. And before I send you off, I need to send you off properly in a good way. So.
Well, thank you.
And I'll see you in the next one.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.